We're a small school, so we're only 4 forms of entry. Fortunately, we've got a close geographical link between 3 schools, which has always enabled us to be able to think about how we can work together. With the changing demands of the curriculum as well, with the 14 to 19 diplomas, we've seen the advantage tremendously of being able to work together to be able to develop these new lines of learning, and we've increased from the 3 schools to include 5 schools. What the learning platform enables us to do is to not just work together, but to actually be able to integrate our information systems, make sure that we've got access to all the student data we need across the piece, and be able to report appropriately. And so it's a very good communication and administration tool. The learning platform helps us to personalise learning so that individual students can have a range of options for how they learn, and also staff can share information across the schools. I mean, I think that's been very important in the development of ideas.
We chose to look at Kaleidos because we wanted to move forward ICT for learning and embedding ICT for learning, and I was particularly keen that the students should have an opportunity to learn in a way that was more relevant to how they use IT in their everyday lives. The features of Kaleidos that were most interesting when I started to look at it was the ability to be able to personalise the learning and to give resources to students as and when, and to give different resources to different students. Another thing that was made much easier was to be able to give them a choice of resources so that they could find their own learning path independently and choose the resources that they wanted to use for a particular task. The pupils always enjoy using computers, and when they're using Kaleidos, they like to be in charge of their own learning. And I found it quite interesting that when they're actually discussing what's on the screen. So it automatically brings in assessment for learning and peer assessment.
We've even now got the girls doing some peer assessment where they're writing some of their own multiple choice questions, which is an excellent revision thing. We can set them through Kaleidos. Other girls can answer their questions, so they get practice writing questions and thinking science, and then the girls who answer the questions get the same practice, and then we can give them feedback.
I think there's been huge benefits to Kaleidos, using Kaleidos here at Wilmington. We've found that the students now can access their work at home very much, and if they were absent for a lesson, they've got all their work there on Kaleidos. And not only can we just assign work to them, but we can actually create tasks and tests where it can actually be marked by Kaleidos itself. And we can then sort of take that little step back and spend much more time in our planning and our analysing of their results rather than in actually the marking.
Kaleidos helps with preparation and planning a great deal. Particularly, we've found that it helps with using web-based resources. We're using more and more web-based resources in science, and the quality of web-based resources is getting higher and higher. Whereas before, if you found a good website, it was difficult to disseminate that information to other members of the science department where it was, and that was difficult to administer. So now, in Kaleidos, if you find a good website and a useful resource, you can instantly tag it using the tagging system and assign it to various objectives from the national curriculum.
The students have picked up using Kaleidos very quickly. You always forget that they always seem to be that little step ahead of us when it comes to sort of using ICT and being very interactive. And they have no problems at all about being able to send work back to you, hand tasks in. And I think they actually prefer it as a method of being able to work. They feel they're working independently and yet have that support there all the time.
One of the biggest benefits that we found was just being able to pick the brains of the other pupils and teachers at the school, like what resources they had found useful, which sites they used, which textbook they used, revision methods, and we were able to share documents like revision notes, important word lists, just little tiny things that were really useful in the long run.
I think the biggest success has been to see the engagement of students, that they thoroughly enjoy learning. This is how all youngsters learn today, and it's part of their natural environment, and that enables them to learn in a modern and effective way that is important for them, and they will need future skills as well.
Our vision for the future is the learning platform and the opportunities that gives for taking learning out of the traditional confines of four walls and time and even sites with the collaboration, because we'll be delivering the 14 to 19 programme across sites, and it's absolutely crucial that the students and the teachers can share and get at resources from home, from the other sites and from anywhere they want.
The developments are so quick at the moment that the possibilities seem endless. So I think the key word is being flexible to look at how best to deliver a first-class education for our students.